Well, hey crafty friends, it's Hiedi Scott with DiyDreaming. And on this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to build a fall dough bowl. Okay, my take on it, which is going to be super easy. We're going to start out first by, I'm going to show you all of the different things that I have stashed in a little Tupperware tub in the basement, labeled Fall Fluff. I'm going to show you some of the different things that you can be looking for. You probably already have some of these things, but different things that you can build your bowl with. We're going to talk about the centerpiece of it. We're going to create 3 little sit-abouts for it. And very last, we're going to assemble the whole thing a couple different ways. So stay with me to the very end. It should be really good. And if you've ever been intimidated by the idea of doing a dough bowl, I'm going to show you that even someone like me, I'm crafty, but I'm not, I don't know. I think it's an art. So I'm going to just show you a very basic but great way to do it. Okay, so you can start with the dough bowl, any size, any shape, whatever you like. This one is a Mud Pie brand, new dough bowl made to look old, and I picked it up at Goodwill. I have several others, but they're full of seashells and summer stuff, and I didn't want to take them apart. So we're going to use this one. Sometimes they're long, sometimes they're square, sometimes they're oblong, sometimes they're circle. You could also use a basket. Okay, so let me grab some of my fluff over here, and I'll just get started introducing you to that. Then we'll talk about the center thing. And yeah, it should be really good. I hope you like it. Okay. Oopsie. All right, so I have here my basket that I use to carry things up from the basement. All right, so a couple things that you can use to start building a fall dough bowl, or one for any time of year really, are pine cones. You can get these from your yard. If you don't have any pine trees in your yard, go to your neighbors or go to a local park. Now, when I get pine cones, I like to put them in the oven on like 160, 175, whatever your lowest setting is, on a cookie sheet lined with tin foil, because sometimes they have sap in them that's going to come out, and you don't want that on your cookie sheets. Also, sometimes they have critters in them. So I think it's good to do the critter thing, to bake them first if they're from your yard or from a park or from your neighbor's yard first before you use them. And there's all different sizes and styles. You can get some at craft stores that smell like cinnamon, and those are wonderful. So I have a bag of pine cones. Oops, and in my pine cone bag, I have something from the next bag. Okay, these little rattan, I think they're rattan, it's little woven balls. They come in different sizes. These are great. I use these like crazy. Right? And I just pick things up all year long as they're on sale, or as I see them at a thrift store or garage sale, and add to my fall tub. Okay, here's the same idea, but these ones are really pretty because they have this copper wire on them and these little amber colored beads. I think you can tell. So I have 3 of those. And you want to sort of be operating on an odd number idea of doing 1, 3, or 5 items that are your focal points. Okay, then also I like these little pumpkin, I don't even know what these things are called. If you know what these are called, please tell me, because I can't think of it. And these are picks, but I'm not using them as picks, so I just bent the pick part up underneath it, okay? And then these were something that I found a couple of years ago. I think I only found 2, and these are awesome. They're wood slices of a real tree cut in the shape of a leaf. I believe I got these at Michael's. So When it is spring, I like to include a little nest of some sort. And here's another fun item that I got years and years ago. I don't even know where, but these look great in dough bowls too. These are feather balls. So be on the lookout for those. You can get them all different sizes. Mine are big. I wish honestly that they were smaller. And then here's, you're gonna say, oh my word, Heidi, you have way too much fluff. I like to swap things out for the seasons. I just always have. Okay, then you can also find these little woven, I don't know what these are called, but you know what, you probably do. Have those. And then, why not wood carved balls? So I have that one and I have this gorgeous one. All right, so those are the main ball shapes. Then during summer especially, we're talking about fall, but during summer I like to use these with sand and seashells. Okay, so we're gonna keep ours very simple for today, but I wanna also tell you, and we'll play with these. These are pumpkins that I picked up last year at Target in the dollar spot. I think they were $1, but they could have been $3. And I just picked up 5. And they had a bunch of different prints. So we'll leave this out because we're gonna do one that we'll play with that has that. And oops, and here's another piece for it. Sometimes I like to include a little floral pick. So be on the lookout for that kind of thing. These flowers are really old, but I really like flowers that look actually more like real flowers. Leaves, I'm cool with them being not necessarily real looking. So I have these little orange and yellow, I think they're eucalyptus leaves that we'll play with. And then of course you can do little beads. And I made these last year, just these little garlands that you could plunk in a dough bowl. Raffia, we're gonna play with some of that. And then I think, I'm trying to remember, but we're gonna do a project like this. I believe it was my friend Martha. I could be wrong. If it was you, I apologize. Sent me these little pumpkins in a little bag that are painted. Aren't they adorable? So you could do something like that also. Okay, so we're not gonna do the feathers or the wood or these. I'm going to put the other stuff towards the top of my basket that we will be using. We won't be using that. Okay, so the next thing really is deciding what you want your color selection to be, or if you want a theme. So we're going to do one that is fall colors themed with some things that we're making that are really cool. I'll show you that in just a minute, so stay with me. Oh, thank you for sprinkling, Virginia. I appreciate it. I forgot to say any of my normal stuff. Say hi as you're hopping on so I know that you're here. Let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to sprinkle. Feel free, absolutely free, to share pictures if you have a fall themed dough bowl that you've made. Feel free to share pictures in here or ideas. I mean, who couldn't use more ideas? Okay, so you could do something that has kind of a fall themed colors like orange and yellow and red and green. You could do something black and white. You could do, we'll play with these. These were things that we made a little while back using navy blue and cream colored ticking. So you could do a navy blue themed with natural looking dough bowl. Or you could do light gray. I mean, it's just totally up to you. the dough bowl itself, and then the balls and things are all very and pine cones are very natural, so you can totally choose whatever color you want. Okay, so let's start with the center of our dough bowl. I like to use a candle, a battery operated candle. But you know, if you put a battery operated candle in your dough bowl, it's gonna be too short, right? So here's the fix. This is just a little terracotta pot that I painted the lid of it, or the rim, this green color, which it's a apple barrel paint from Walmart, English Ivy Green. I just put one coat on there, and then I have a little rim of glue inside, but we're gonna add a little bit more. This keeps the candle so that it doesn't tip over or be lopsided. It just gives it a little something to rest on. Okay, so I just put a little rim of hot glue in the center. And then you can choose, do you want a white candle that is battery operated? Or do you want a cream color one? And these are both so old, I couldn't even begin to tell you where I got them, but you can get them even now that have timers, and you can get ones that are remote controlled, which would be super nice. So we're gonna start with the white, and we're gonna start building our dough bowl. So I'm gonna put this in the center. If you want it offside, you can certainly do that. If your dough bowl is not flat, you can put a little bit of hot glue in the base of your dough bowl and stick your terracotta pot in it, and that should work. But here is the start, okay? What do you guys think so far? Pretty easy, huh? Okay, next I'm gonna add some smaller rattan, I think they're called rattan balls, and a big one and a few pine cones. All right, so let's put like one big rattan ball in, and then a bunch of small ones. These just take up space, is basically what they do. Let's add a few pine cones in here too. And you can so easily convert this from fall to winter to Christmas to New Year's just by swapping out your elements. So I always think that's really nice. Then you're getting multiple things achieved with the same pieces. Okay, I'm gonna put in, we may put in some more, but I have 4 pieces in here. All right. Easy peasy, Celia. Yes, it is easy peasy. Okay, so we're just filling up the base, which we might do some more in a minute. Okay, then next we want to add a couple things that could be interesting, maybe some texture. Okay, and then we'll go in last. Well, we need to do our candle, and I have several ideas for that. We're gonna make candle garters, which I showed you guys a week or 10 days ago. I did a whole video on making a fall themed style of candle garters, but I've done multiple videos on this subject. You have sorghum and pine cones and acorns. Oh gosh, that sounds wonderful, Susie. Okay, so I love these. These are just these little balls. So I'm gonna add, let's add one right here. We might just need 3 pine cones. I'm gonna put my nicest ones there. And then, I mean, we could add a feather. We could have done a feather instead if we wanted. Can you guys see that? I know it doesn't look pretty yet, but we're just gonna do this, okay? And I could do one of these little pumpkins. Whoops, it goes like that. we'll put it there and see what we think. And one of these little wood things. Just figuring out how to get those in here. Okay. Next, I really think that the adobo needs to have some green in it, just a little bit. And I just have these little bits of different green things that have come off of floral picks. I don't even know what they're representing, you know, or pretending to be, but I'm just gonna plunk a little green in. I'm not even gonna do it nice, okay? And I'm putting those kind of towards the back. All right, I could plop some of this interesting green in here or there. Okay, I'm gonna twirl our bowl for just a second so you can see. It's still not beautiful. Okay, so let's do the black and white idea first, because it's the simplest. And then we'll come back and we'll do this one. I'm gonna show you how to make these. And then we'll fiddle around with the blue and white too. And I'll show you the example of gray. So I have lots to show you, stay with me. All right, so I'm gonna use some Dollar Tree ribbon in your basic buffalo check. I'm gonna take my little candle off here, push this out of the way. And we're gonna create a candle garter, which is basically just a piece of ribbon glued around your candle's tummy. It's not really even glued to the candle, so you can change them. And in real life, I would make the back look nicer than that, but just for sake of time, okay, and you can place it on your candle high up, in the middle, 3/4 down, whatever you like. All right, so a few weeks ago, I found this garland at my local Target, I think this one came from Target, and it was maybe $9. I can't remember. I have so many crafting supplies. But you can also use the plain wood leaves from Target if you would like. And I pulled this one off because this is a great green. And my idea was just to put a little dab of glue and make this be our little candle garter. Easy, easy, easy peasy. This pulls all the green in, okay? So it's starting to look cutish. All right, now for this one, we're gonna use the pumpkins that I got. Where did I put? Oh, they're over here. That I picked up at Target last year. But this stuff is still popular, so I'm sure you can still find it. We're going to use 3 different ones. And we're just going to basically plunk them in here in some random places. We might take that little pumpkin out and just say, that is good. What do you guys think? Let me look at it from the front. Maybe put the rattan pumpkin back in there. And we could always do all 3 of these pumpkins sort of together. Maybe take that leaf out. I mean, it's really just going to be a matter of playing around with your arrangement. So what do you guys think? So easy, right? So you're keeping in mind the rule of odd numbers, like one candle, not two. 1 or 3. I have 3 pumpkins. I have one of these pumpkins. I was going to use 1 leaf. And then I have the stuff in the base. And then some little pops of green in here. And the green on this to make the green and black and white theme make sense. Do you guys like this one? Okay, so let's call this one black and white. All right? And remember what it looks like. Let me see if I can make myself a screenshot. And then we'll go on to the next one, so stay with me. Okay, the next one is not going to involve these pumpkins. And by the way, I like to just store stuff in little Ziploc bags. I know they're not great for the environment, but they just make it so easy, and throw it in my Tupperware tub, like by category. Okay, so we're going to take our little candle garter off. All right, see, my candle was not harmed in the making of that candle garter. All right, and now we're gonna do an orange one. So let's go ahead and do the candle garter first, and then I'll show you how to make the fluff. All right, so this is also some ribbon from Dollar Tree. I took it off the roll and just scrunched it flat, or you could use this one. This would be pretty. Let's see. I think I want the solid orange, but this one has a bunch of different fall words. Okay, and I'm gonna do the exact same thing. I'm just gonna glue it on real quick. We're gonna decide what we want to do with this once we get to that spot. So I am going to pull some of this green out, and so we're going to start with it like this, all right? And I'm going to set it behind me because I want to show you the next step. Let's see. Too many things on my desk. Oh my word. Okay, let's just set it right here. Okay, so before I came live, I started making some fall colored fluff, and I'm gonna actually show you how to do that. We're gonna use this stencil that is looking kind of pitiful because I love it. This is from Magnolia DIY.com, and these green stencils are reusable, they're adhesive, they're awesome. And I especially love a good all over pattern because you can use it for a zillion different things. Seriously, a zillion. So we're gonna be using this. I'll show you an example where I used my Victorian lace stencil as well, but we're not gonna use that for right now. And we're going to be using a variety of different inks from Magnolia. This one is called Magnolia Green. This one is called Pumpkin Spice. We're going to be using one that's called Ruby Red. How about a little pineapple yellow and maybe a little bit of sangria. Whatever you want, whatever colors you want. Oops. All right, and you guys know, if you've been watching DIY Dreaming for any amount of time, that I love working with this canvas duck fabric. Mine came off of a bolt of fabric at Walmart in the craft department in the fabric section. It was around $6 a yard. This stuff is great. I love to make flowers and bunnies, and I mean, I love to do things that are stuffed. Big candy corns like this, a door hanger. See, it's just canvas duck. I like to make butterflies and dragonflies and things like this too. So canvas duck is an absolute must for crafting, in my opinion. And I'm not even going to bother to iron it, but you could if you want to. Don't wash it, okay? You don't need to, and you just don't need to. So don't wash it. If you're using painter's drop cloth, you do want to wash it twice, okay? And dry it twice, and that will soften it, and it'll be nice to work with. I'm only going to do a small part of this stencil. Looking for a place to put something, just to show you basically how it works. Okay, so you would lay your stencil on your fabric, and then lately I've just been using the backing that the stencil came off, which I labeled, but I've been using this side underneath just in case a little bit of the ink comes through the fabric, which honestly I have not had this canvas duck is pretty tightly woven, and so I really haven't had a big issue with that. Okay, so we're gonna open up all our little pots of ink. So one day this week, I'm going to do a day where I show you all my favorite craft supplies and tell you where they came from. And one of them is going to be this canvas duck fabric from Walmart. It'll be one of the things on there, but I'll talk to you about glue guns and glue and glitter and, oh gosh, all kinds of things. I was gonna just do 10, but when I was traveling this week, I started making a list, and I have about 30 items on it that I regularly use. So it'll be just a whole bunch of things. And with the advice to you of where to find it and roughly what the prices are. Okay, let's just start with a little bit of yellow and one of these little sticks. These inks from Magnolia are, they're great to work with on either fabric or ceramics. You can see I just did a little blob. By the way, if these comments here are bothering you, you should be able to swipe them either up and down or left to right, and they should disappear on Facebook, and you can bring them back by doing the reverse motion, either with your finger, your cursor, or your mouse. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, you should not be having any problems like that at all. So I'm just gonna take just some little blobs of these different colors, and honestly, you can mix however many you want. It's totally your project, and no one's gonna tell you, uh-oh, 5 is too many. I mean, I could keep going if I wanted. And then our pumpkin pie, pumpkin spice. Okay. So I have my little blobs on my fabric, and I am just going to take a squeegee, which if you're interested, if you want to look at this stencil or any of the inks or the squeegee, or I mean, magnoliadiy.com is my website, but I can get you a direct link. If you just say link in the comments, then when I'm finished, I will do that. Okay, now I'm just gonna kind of start smooching my colors around. I would like, if possible, for my leaves here to have a variety of colors and not just be a mix of all these colors combined, but we'll see. That's what would happen in an ideal world. So I'm just, oh shoot, I'm probably outside of the camera range. I am just pushing it through the holes on my stencil and just kind of swirly doing it around. Okay, and I'm just doing this little bit just to show you. Let's grab a little bit more yellow. Just to show you the process, because I already did some before I came live. Okay, let's say that's good. Throw this in my little tub of water over here. And this is what this looks like. Not so pretty. It did come through just a teeny bit, but this will come off with a paper towel. All right. So I'm gonna pull up my stencil. Ooh, it's really pretty. And I'll hold this up in just a second to show you. The idea here, the idea here really is just that you can blend. Blend, blend, blend. Just getting my stencil submerged a little bit. Okay. And this is what that looks like. Can you see how these leaves have a bunch of different colors? All right, what you do when you're working with ink is you're going to let it thoroughly dry. I'm always so impatient. So I usually am pulling out my Magnolia heat gun to speed that process up a little bit. But a couple of hours, preferable would be overnight. And then if you think there's any possibility that you would want to wash it or that it could get wet, like if you were working on a t-shirt, you want to wash that. A tea towel, you want to wash that. A pillow, you might want to wash that. A tote bag, you might want to wash that. Those kind of things. Then you would just heat set it with a hot iron when it's dry for 3 or 4 minutes, and you want to use a piece of parchment paper in between your iron and the surface for 3 or 4 minutes, and that heat sets this ink so it is permanent and washable. Isn't that cool? You cannot, I'm sorry, you cannot use chalk paste for this kind of a project that would be washed or that could possibly get wet. So this cloth here is called cotton duck. It's with the ticking fabric, and it's about the same color and the same weight or thickness. So I'm just answering someone's question. She asked me if this was ticking, and it's called canvas duck, I believe. It's just your cream, heavy, pretty tightly woven, nice fabric. Okay, so let's set this aside because I've already done some and I want to show it to you. And then I'll show you the next step. All right, so this is the one that I did before I came live. I've already started cutting it up. Isn't it pretty? This is this stencil is called Fall Leaves. It's an all-over pattern, Fall Leaves. And if you want the link to that stencil, which you can use it for the, all fall into Christmas. I mean, seriously, it's a great stencil. Just let me know and I'll get you a direct link to it so you don't have to hunt it down. Okay, I also did the same thing with my Victorian pattern stencil that I love so much. Same, a mix of all these different colors, so I could use that, and I will use this for a future project. And then just for fun, just to see what it would look like in a very, very neutral palette, I used this Gray Owl ink that's a very, very light gray, and this sparkling silver ink. I used these two colors together and did that kind of swirly-do thing, and this is what that looks like. It's really dimensional and it's really pretty. It's kind of hard to see with my bright camera light, but it's gorgeous. So I could use any one of these. And then what I did was stay with me because we're going to assemble this in just a minute. I Googled, Mr. Google knows just about everything. I Googled clip art free fall leaves and clip art free pumpkin. And then I just printed on my printer these images. Where are they? That looked like this. One of them had these two shapes on it. And the other one, the pumpkin one, had this. Okay, then I am lazy. So I pinned to my pattern my stenciled inked fabric and one other layer for the back. And I just cut these out. So you're cutting out a whole, everything you need for one piece all at the same time. And so I don't think I can share this clip art because I don't have the right to it, but seriously, just do a Google search or whatever internet browser you like and search engine you like. And I put in the terms clip art free fall leaves and clip art free pumpkin. You might also say outline or coloring book. Those might be some good terms also. Okay, so I have these two here, and let's get our glue gun out. I'm going to show you the next step, and these are quick. This is really quick. So stay with me. We're getting there. Okay, so let's take our pins out. Off. It kind of wanted to stick to the stencil piece of fabric, which was nice. Okay, that's one. Let's take this one apart. On this pumpkin, we're going to use some colored raffia, which I've had for 100 years. I think I got it at Walmart. I'm not 100% certain on that. Walmart or Michael's. Okay, so here's the pumpkin pieces, front and back, and here's our, this is an oak leaf, front and back. Okay, so let's see, one thing you want to think about is where are you going to stuff it from? So don't glue the whole entire thing shut. And I think for me, it's easier if I stuff it from a side. So I'm going to start at the top. And a new glue stick. If you put a little dot of glue on the end of your new glue stick and then stick it in, it'll stick to the glue stick ahead of it and it will be less likely to just fall out. So I'm just going around the edges. And I've got glue on me already, so I seriously recommend that you use a low temperature hot glue gun for this project. Okay, let's continue on this side. And you do want to get it fully glued down because we're going to be stuffing it and we don't want stuffing popping out of the sides. The stem we're not going to actually stuff, it's too narrow, so I'm going to just put a bunch of glue in there to give it some, I don't know, some structure. Yep, I have glue on me, so definitely use a low temperature glue gun. Okay, I have right now this much open on the side, which is probably way more than what I need. So let's just go up a little bit, get this one little bend covered. Okay, so we have this opening right here. And I'm just grabbing some of your basic polyfill for crafters from Walmart, or take apart a pillow if you don't have any of this, or if you're in a pinch, you can use some white or even light tan or light gray grocery bags. Those work too when you're in a pinch. But maybe you have a pillow that you don't love anymore that you could use. So I'm not going to make these super full, but I do want them to be, you know, dimensional. And I'm going to get a paintbrush out because I want to push some of the stuffing into the edges of the leaves if I possibly can. So you could use cotton balls too. Oh my gosh, Tina, that's a great idea. Karen had the same idea. Karen says, in a pinch, cotton balls work. You guys are so good. Could I sew the edges if you wished? Yes, absolutely. And in fact, this project would probably be better if you did. But the thing is, not everyone knows how to sew. Not everyone has a sewing machine, but most of you guys do have a glue gun. So that is why I show a ton of crafts here with glue guns, because I want my projects to be something that, you know, pretty much everyone could do, even if they don't know how to sew. Okay, so I just stuffed it. Let me see. And we're just gonna quick glue this closed. Push my stuffing away while I'm gluing it closed. And then I'll just scrunch it a bit to get the stuffing to come over to this side. Okay, there's a leaf. Here's the one that I made before I came live, and on this one I made it almost like it had some veins just by doing little strips of glue and then stuffing slowly as I was gluing along. I didn't do it on this side because I hadn't quite figured it out yet, but you see what I mean? So you could do that too. So I have my maple and my oak leaf. And let's do our pumpkin real quick, and we'll make our pumpkin with a little bit of dimension. Okay, I'm gonna start at the top of this little pumpkin and do the stem. And we're just gonna open this up like a sandwich. I'm gonna go along the very top. Go down straight. Okay. Let's do the other side. And then I'll show you how you can create a little bit of dimension with hot glue. Okay, so we've got the start of it. And I'm just going to do two, like a parentheses. Two of them, and we'll stuff the center, and then we'll go on to the sides. We'll leave the bottom open. And you will see what I'm talking about in just a minute. So I did like two parentheses to make this pumpkin look like it has ridges. All right, let's do like some of this side. Leave the side part open. We'll stuff that. We're gonna add a little raffia to the top of this pumpkin too. Okay, so can you see what I'm talking about? Let's glue that part closed. All right, and some of that polyfill got smushed and glued. So Where are my scissors? Oh, here they are. So I'm just going to trim this. So there's one side. Let's do the center part. And then we'll glue that shut, and then we'll move on to the other side. So what do you guys think so far? Do you like this project? Hey, feel free to sprinkle this to your own personal Facebook page if you would like, or if you're in, you know, you have any friend groups or whatever that like to do fall crafts. That really helps my business. And stay with me to the very end because I have more fun stuff to show you. Make that into a little sandwich. Can you see what I mean about the little ridges? Those are just created using glue. Super easy. And on the outside sides, I'm just gonna do a little hole on the side. I would trim these up nice and neat when I'm all finished. Get in there. This light makes it hard for you guys to see, but this is what the dimension is that I was kind of talking about, how you can create those ridges using just a strip of glue to kind of make different compartments that you've stuffed, basically. Okay, and then this is some of the raffia that I have from years and years and years ago. Even my Ziploc bag looks old. It's just orange and green, and at one point I had yellow too, but I guess I must have liked the yellow more because the yellow is gone. Okay, and I'm gonna put a little, so I'm just gonna tie a little knot in this bunch. This might be too big, I don't know. I'm gonna just get it started, okay? And then I will put that over my pumpkin. I think, where do I want my front to be? And I'm gonna put a little dab of glue on the back here and stick that raffia into it. And then we'll tie this. Okay, and then these are way too long, so I'm going to cut them kind of shortish because they're going to go in this dough bowl, and you can work to fluff these up however you like. If you get them wet, scrunch them a little bit, then they look less, they look more natural. You can see already, just with the little scrunching. Okay, so let's come back to our dough bowl and let's play with it for a few minutes with the things that we created, and then we'll also play with some other things that we created, so stay with me. Okay, here's our basic dough bowl. I have these three things that I want to include in here, and I don't want them all to be standing out, you know, super prominently. So I might put them in, and then I might add a few more little bits of twine balls, or yeah. look at all those pumpkins. Thank you. Okay, so we're getting started. And then I might decide that I want some little pops of orange in here. And where are my scissors? I'm gonna just use some of these little pieces that I pulled off of a pick that are orange. I'm gonna tuck them in with my other little pieces of greenery. And I have this one little piece of bittersweet, which I have had for at least 15 years. I've used it in 100 different things, but we could pop that. We could just stick that in here just about anywhere. And if I was doing this project like this, let's see. Let's come around a little bit more. Then I probably wouldn't decorate this. I might be more inclined to use this piece of ribbon. I think this might have looked better on here. Let's take this one off and do it, should we? Yeah. Okay, how big do I need this to be? All right. I'm just gluing this onto my candle off screen for 2 seconds. I'll be right back. I have my glue gun over here. I'll turn this up a little bit. So what do you guys think? And the thing I like about doing dough bowls is that they're pretty from every direction. So these make a great centerpiece. So we have little touches of orange. These little things, stuffed things that we made using the fall leaves all over pattern stencil and all those colors of Magnolia ink, which let me know if you want any of that information or if you just want to go hop over and look. It's magnoliadiy.com, all smushed together. So Magnolia, M-A-G-N-O-L-I-A, D-I-Y, period, C-O-M. Okay, so let's take these ones out and let's take out the orange little bits. And let's play for just a second using my navy blue stuff. Okay, we're gonna put this candle in here because I don't have anything glued on it. And, oh my gosh, we have had so much fun. I made a gorgeous table runner, a beautiful fall banner. I made a fabulous pillow. And then I made these stuffed pumpkins. Well, I've made a lot of different things, but we made these. Easy peasy stuffed pumpkins. I have a video if you're interested in looking, using this blue and cream ticking fabric, which is also from Walmart, okay? And so this could be a pretty arrangement. And these are other pieces that I made using the same ticking fabric. And then, you know how I stenciled this one with the red and green and yellow and orange and purpley color? I did this one just with navy blue ink. You can see how totally different the stencil looks depending on the color that you choose. It's awesome. So, and this one I just glued a little bow on there. This was a different size pumpkin and a different pattern, if I remember right. Here's another one of the pumpkins that I did where I just used the ticking and then I used some little pieces of the fall leaves that I stenciled and I cut them out. So I could do that one too, but And then here's one that I did using, the back is the fall ticking. The front is this stencil, also from Magnolia, DIY.com, that has, it's called Fall Fantasy, and it's 4 leaves that have these gorgeous different shapes, and then they have bits of a mandala lace in them. Really different, I love them. So we could put that right here. And then I have these little acorns that I made, which I still have not done a video on this. So I will do this very soon. Let's see, maybe the pumpkin needs to go on the back because it's bigger. We need to put this up front. Let me look at it. And we could do a little band around this candle's belly using a strip of the blue and white ticking, which, do I have any of it handy? Probably not. Let's see. Oh, yes, I do. Yay. So we could create a candle garter out of this. This is a wider one, or this one. Let's do this real quick. Just hop over here and glue it on, and then I'll plunk it in and show you what it looks like. And then if we wanted, we could add to it, like if we wanted to have an accent color. But honestly, I think this very natural blue and cream is a pretty combination, especially if you were doing the pumpkins too. Oh boy, my desk is a disaster. So what do you guys think? I'll give a little twirl on this. I would probably leave my leaves and greenery pretty minimal, but, oh, thank you. I think it's Aurelia Elise. Thank you for sprinkling. Look at all those sprinkles. Sprinkle, 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 sprinkle. You could do a solid blue strip around the candle. Yeah, Tina, that would look awesome. Anyways, so this is the blue and white theme. And I could do it in the gray and cream. Yeah, I hope you get the point that you can do a fall theme, even if you're not using traditional fall colors. Like if you love pink, it could be a whole pink thing. It could be yellow and purple. I mean, it seriously could, or it could just be black and white. You could do these pieces just with black ink on the canvas duck fabric. Okay, so let me give you a little tour, little turn. And it's pretty, it really is pretty from every side. Let's see, which way do I need to go? So, that was pretty much what I wanted to show you today. I hope that you liked this idea of building a fall dough bowl using different colors, but keeping your natural elements really kind of understated, doing a little teeny pop of color. If you missed the beginning where I showed all the different things that I have in my tub over here that I will use underneath, feel free to watch this on replay as soon as we're done. And if you have friends or anyone who is wanting to do a fall dough bowl or wanting to do things like this, feel free to tell them about DIY Dreaming or Sprinkle. Let me know if you want links. And I think that's pretty much it. Anyways, I hope you guys love this. I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know which one I'm gonna use. If I'm gonna use this one, the blue, I might use this because honestly I have all the other pieces. But I will get good pictures And I'll share those here in the comments as well as in the just over at DIY Dreaming, and I'll put it in the description of this video. I'll also put it in the description for YouTube with links. Alrighty, you guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you later. Lillian, I'll get you links for etching and the dragonfly stencil and all those other things you asked about in just a few minutes. Alrighty. We'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye. I'm going to say really goodbye now. Have a great day.